Oh, what time is it? Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is time. It's time we are here. Oh, this is weird, man. I've not had a long live stream in a very long time. So, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Wish me luck, guys. What's going on, man? We gotta check out the video. There's been a lot of requests for this video. I can see there's a couple of people in there. Welcome, welcome. Appreciate y'all. Um, should we wait for more people or should we just start? I think we should just start because it's a whole hour and a half. That's like a whole football match, including halftime and all that shenanigans. So, all right, let's get it on. Let's get it on. I've already queued it up. Yep. Actually, before I start, I want to say thank you very much to every single one of you for tuning in and been supporting the channel and been liking and all that good stuff. Hey. Yes, I'm excited for this video. I'm out here, man. Thank you all for the suggestions and everything. I'm getting really into this Nascar series. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be happy to see this video. Oh, thank y'all for joining in as well. I wasn't expecting so many people, but hey, let's go. I'm gonna try to read the comments as we're going as well. Obviously, we can do the reacts together. You can teach me a thing or two as we're going, because I know I'm gonna get it wrong completely. Start whenever I'm ready, man. Let's go. Hey, what up, Dom? What's up, Yellow? I'm gonna give shout out to everybody. Eric and Ad Victor. Do you know what? Let me put my glasses on before I start waffling. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what's going on out here. All right. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. All right, let's get it on because it's a long video. Okay. Okay, we're dancing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another iconic moment in NASCAR history. Now, ordinarily, I would just explain what's about to happen on screen here, but today we're gonna try something a little different. What you're watching is the final lap of the 2012 Nationwide Series race at Daytona. And if you haven't seen this before...
What up, Nats? I don't think I've seen this yet. The 2012. Have I seen the 2012? I think I have, actually. Oh, my God. Guys, my memory with this thing, it's a bit crazy. It's in and out because I'm watching, like, years in the future. Yeah, no, not in the future, but you know what I'm saying? Like, current situations and past situations and current. So it's all mixed up in my head, but we're going to get through it.
I'd like you to try and predict which of these drivers ends up winning. To make things easier, let's take a look at some of our challengers. Leading the field is the 2004 Cup Series champion Kurt Busch. With no one in front of him, he has the shortest pathway to victory. Right behind Kurt is his brother Kyle Busch, a future two-time Cup champion and winner of more than 200 races across NASCAR's top 3 series. Over 100 of those wins came in the series he's currently competing in at this moment, so there's pretty good odds that this might be one of them. Gaining on the two Busch brothers is Joey Logano.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I've seen a lot of compilations, so I've seen clips of everything, but not like a whole, series or of the, I don't know what English I'm trying to speak, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Future 3-time Cup champion and the youngest winner in NASCAR history. With his current momentum, he should be able to pass the two leaders before the finish line. Logano is being pushed by Trevor Bayne, who lacks the career accolades of the 3 drivers in front of him, but does know his way around Daytona. Yeah. In fact, he enters today's race as the defending winner of NASCAR's most prestigious event, the Daytona 500. And finally, rounding out the top 5 with a full head of steam is Tony Stewart, the reigning Cup.
So I thought they were only talking about the guys at the front here, fighting for the win. But there are more people at the back. Oh, God, it's going to be a long one.
Series champion and the winner of this exact event the last 4 consecutive seasons. It seems like no matter what happens, Tony always finds a way to come out of this thing on top. These are your contenders, some of the most elite talent this sport has ever seen.
Wait, I only know
your contenders, maybe some of the most elite talent this.
I don't know much about Kurt Busch. I know Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Tony Stewart and Trevor. I've not heard about them yet, but I know these two for sure. But I know a little bit about this guy. So if anyone was gonna win, from all of this crew right here. Is it Daytona 500? It's not going to be Kyle Busch because he hasn't won it yet, if I'm correct. I don't know.
Sport has ever seen. A Daytona victory is at stake. And remember, everyone wants to win at Daytona. All that's left to do is see who crosses the line first.
A squeeze to the outside wall, trouble in the corner. Hard, vicious crash. Who gets through in the race? Caution flag has just been called. The race leader is James Butcher in the 30 car.
So,
they say this is always a big one, isn't it? They call it a big one, right? Every single Daytona 500, there's going to be a big one. Tony Stewart is an incredibly talented wheelman. Oh, really? 2027 in that video. Wow, okay. Tony Stewart. I watched the full video on Tony Stewart. Oh man, okay.
When everyone was predicting the winner, did any of you happen to pick the guy in 11th place who cruised to victory after every single driver in front of him crashed? This is James Butcher. Before today, he had never won a NASCAR race, and most people had no idea who he was. But now, he enters the record books as a Daytona winner, besting some of the greatest drivers to ever race in the sport. At the end of the day, all the
hold on, before I carry on. What was the video? Because I know the videos by the titles. I would remember Tony Stewart. What did he do? What was, do you know what? Let me not waste too much time. Group talented wheelman. I'm pissed off that I don't remember him though.
Talent, experience, and championships didn't end up mattering. Today's winner just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Watch this.
Take a look at this real time. Now they're coming down the backstretch.
They fan out. They're at least 5 wide right here. Mike Skinner's going to make...
Wait, sorry. I got to pause it again. Reading chat right now. This one isn't the Daytona 500. This is the Nationwide Xfinity O'Reilly. Right, okay. They were on the day before. Also, yeah, there is one going on today, isn't there? This was the Nationwide race, not the Daytona 500. My bad. I think chat is a bit slow. Let me see. Can I fix the... I can't fix the latency. Yeah, it's coming in a bit later than normal. But yeah, sorry guys. I got ya.
Some contact with Mike Walsh.
NASCAR is chaotic. It's probably the most chaotic motorsport in the world. You'd think that a racing series where drivers only have to worry about turning one direction would be pretty simple and straightforward. But that's hardly the case at all. In fact, preposterous stuff like this happens all the time in NASCAR. If you watch long enough, you'll eventually come to expect it. But how...
I think I've seen all these clips now. I've seen every single one of them. Hey, thanks for the likes. Appreciate it.
How exactly did this sport get so chaotic? It's a long story. But luckily, there is one driver who can help us navigate through this whole mess. Because all along in this very race, an agent of chaos has been lurking. Disorder seems to follow him wherever he goes, and in the next several years, his presence will usher in an age of anarchy that no one knew was possible. It turns out that chaos happens to be the subject of considerable scientific study. Its properties are especially important to industries attempting to predict the future.
There's nothing like a good chaos, man. You gotta bring the chaos, you gotta bring trouble. I like me some good chaos, because otherwise it's just boring. You need that mental.
Understanding chaos could provide major breakthroughs in finance, logistics, and numerous other disciplines that society depends on to function. Perhaps the most famous principle of chaos theory is the butterfly effect, which dictates how tiny changes in a system may produce drastic differences in the future.
Yep.
The implications of this are profound and have far-reaching consequences in just about anything you can imagine, including stock car racing. One of NASCAR's biggest butterfly effects was set in motion during the 1969 Talladega 500.
Damn, we're going all the way back.
This race also offers us a look into the chaotic origins of the sport itself. From the very beginning, NASCAR has served as a battleground for the eternal struggle between law and disorder. The entire history of
the people that raced back in the days, they were a different breed, honestly. They were made from different like DNA, because what do you mean they're driving cars like this, full speed, no seat belt, no nothing, And oh man, they're crazy. I think my chat is frozen. 1 second. Let me see. Let me check my phone. YouTube. It be acting up sometimes. This is what happens when you do a live stream. It's always chaotic. Let's see. Play that. I might have to use my phone for it. Am I still even live? Nah, okay, we're Gucci.
Ground for the eternal struggle between law and disorder. The entire history of NASCAR can be traced back to something frequently found at all of its races.
What's my man doing over there?
Drunk people.
You gotta love the drunk people.
In 1919, American lawmakers decided that alcohol was causing too much chaos around the nation, so they passed a constitutional amendment banning the sale of all liquor. Unwilling to depart from their way of life, the drunks sought what they desired from the black market. In the Southeast, this market would be fulfilled by moonshiners, who forged their own bootleg distilleries far away from city limits. Once the contraband was produced.
It's funny how they're talking about alcohol will be banned and all that kind of stuff. The whole reason they're going to NASCAR is because of bootlegging, no?
It had to be transported back into town for sale and distribution. The problem was that the road back to civilization was often infested with cops waiting to catch any illicit deliveries. Drivers soon found the solution, upgrading their personal vehicles to outrun police cruisers. After decades of racing the cops, the moonshiners started racing each other. Unsanctioned competition started to pop up around the country to see who had the most power under the hood.
I thought it was a lot soon, well, what they call it, like earlier than 1969. The whole thing started like earlier, maybe like 40s or something. 1969 seems kind of recent. I mean, I'm not trying to show my age, but it doesn't seem like it's that old.
But these early races were often dysfunctional, with little to no oversight. Enter Bill France, a man with a vision for the future of stock car racing. Starting in 1948, he helps consolidate these disorganized...
Okay, my bad. For some reason, he said 1969 before, so in my head, I'm thinking he's still talking about 1969. It's 1949 was the first NASCAR race. Thank you. So that makes more sense, because I'm like, bro, you're talking about something that is still, yo, we got to go all the way back, way past 1969. So, yeah, and the people that were doing it back then, what an era to be alive, though, to be honest. Imagine just doing your car up and be able to outrun the police. Even if you do that now, unless you start driving a Bugatti or something, there's nowhere for you to go. Even and as well as there's too much traffic on the road and you can't really get anywhere.
Events into a national touring series with guaranteed payouts.
Thank you. See, it comes in and it goes out sometimes, and I'm trying to keep it in. But yeah, 1969 Talladega, 1948 first NASCAR race. Appreciate that.
And a scoring system to crown an overall champion. This new league would be known as NASCAR. From the very beginning, it wasn't much more than organized chaos. So what does all this have to do with one summer day in 1969?
There we go.
Well, the complex interplay between order and chaos would continue shaping NASCAR far into the future. The new sport proved quite popular with drivers and spectators alike. As the sole owner and chairman of the venture, Big Bill had found himself with a lucrative proposition. If stock car racing kept growing, it would pay off very well for him and his family. But how do you convince the average Joe to watch a bunch of cars drive in circles? The answer: build the biggest, fastest circle in the world. Bill France foresaw that NASCAR's path to prosperity existed on a fine line between competition and spectacle.
Thanks, guys.
And so, he began to invest heavily in the entertainment value of the sport. He constructed new circuits that were borderline experimental. Higher speeds, bigger accidents, more risk, and more reward.
Whoa!
This all culminated with NASCAR's ultimate...
That guy flew off the track. I'm sorry, but what in the hell? And also, if you haven't seen it yet, we did a reaction to Talladega a few videos ago. It was absolutely mind-blowing. how much that track caused so much problem, but it's still loved because of all the chaos as well.
Accidents, more risk, and more reward. This all culminated with NASCAR's ultimate behemoth, Talladega Superspeedway, scheduled to open in the September of 1969. But before the inaugural race, there was a problem. The racing surface was too fast for the tires to handle. After numerous blowouts in practice, most drivers feared conditions were too dangerous to race. And just like that, NASCAR had reached an impasse. The quest for spectacle had driven a wedge between the competitors and the sanctioning body. Something had to give, and when confronted with the possibility of canceling the event, Bill France insisted that the show must go on. When faced with a chaotic situation, NASCAR had decided to double down. What followed was, to this day, the only large-scale driver boycott of any NASCAR event. Nearly every star competitor refused to show up for race day. Their absence would create a unique opportunity. To fill up the empty field, Bill France would open up the grid to drivers from NASCAR's lower divisions, who would now be racing for life-changing amounts of money. This is where the butterfly effect truly begins, because one of these drivers was a 23-year-old Richard Childress, who would use his winnings to open...
He has a racing team now, doesn't it? Childress Racing? Oh, wait. It's actually right in front of me. I haven't seen that yet. But guys, I'm locking in. I'm starting to understand NASCAR, you know what I'm saying? I'm hearing some things that I understand.
Open up his very own race shop and begin a full-time racing career. Over the next decade, he becomes a top 10 driver in the sport, before retiring from competition and managing his race team from the pit box. Replacing Childress in the number 3 car is one of NASCAR's most promising young prospects.
We all know
his
who that
name is Dale Earnhardt. It's strange to think how all the history that followed, the dominance, the drama, the triumph, and the tragedy, came so close to never existing. But such is the nature of chaos. It can produce effects in the future that may seem unthinkable in the present. In NASCAR's case, a set of faulty tires and a driver boycott would set in motion a direct chain of events that eventually led to the sport's darkest day, more than 30 years later. Following Earnhardt's fatal accident at Daytona, his now iconic number 3 would be unofficially retired across NASCAR's major series.
Wait, hold on. Somebody else is driving that number 3. It seems sucks this year. Oh no. Well, every sort of racing thing, people go like the teams. They go up and down. Some years they'll be good. Some years they'll be bad. But yeah, somebody else is driving the number 3 now, if I'm correct. Who was it? It was the son. Is it the nephew or the nephew of the guy that owns the team?
As a show of respect, the other race teams would purposely avoid assigning the number to any of their cars. That privilege would be left to Richard Childress, who had the final say on whether it would ever return.
Yeah, I knew it was back.
After more than 8 years, car number 3 would be resurrected at what seems like a random race in Iowa. But for Richard Childress, today is a special occasion. All this time, he's been saving the number for precisely one driver.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they don't completely retire them. Grandson. Oh, grandson. I knew it was related. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
This particular race happens to be the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series debut of his grandson, Austin Dillon. And as the world of NASCAR got to know the heir to the Childress throne, they would soon discover that chaos runs in the family.
Chaos runs in that number 3. I said in one of the videos, I think it was the not butterfly effect video, but there was a video talking about the grandson and how he had that crazy accident. And I was like, bro, you gotta retire this number because it's not looking good. This car keeps crashing, but he did win a few years later.
They're all collected.
Richard Childress's grandson trying to return the 3 to NASCAR victory lane.
He's coming. He'll be back.
Thank you, Jesus, baby!
While the return of the 3 car was met with excitement, some questioned whether its new driver was worthy of carrying on such a legacy. His hand-picked opportunity seemed to stand in direct contrast to the blue-collar grit of Earnhardt, who had cut his teeth for years before his big break. By this point, the Childresses had become quite wealthy, and when it came to Austin Dillon, the phrase silver spoon certainly came to mind. However, unfazed by the doubters, the young driver began working his way up the ranks. Just 1 year later, Dillon would score his first NASCAR victory at the age of 20. The following season, he would take home the Truck Series championship, beating some of the sport's most wily veterans. Dillon was then promoted to the Nationwide Series, taking the number 3 with him. Despite the stiffer competition, he would again reach victory lane and finish 3rd in the championship.
There's one thing about being, what they call it, like, born with a silver spoon and actually having talents to back it. If you come to Formula 1, there's a lot of silver spoon people, but don't actually do anything. They get all the way into Formula 1 and then they just keep riding on their parents' money and nothing happens. Yes, Tommy00, I am on it like a car bonnet, baby. We're watching this right now. It's going to be a long day, but we're here, man. And you guys can teach me things as we go along and correct me when I say something stupid. Your children not only earns money through NASCAR. Defense contractor. Okay, it's making all that money. Ooh, that government money.
Now at this point, you might be wondering, where's the chaos? And thus far, nothing about Dillon's career appears out of the ordinary. If anything, he looks like a real straight shooter with a bright future ahead of him. But the following season is where things start to get weird. The 2013 Nationwide Championship came down to a tight points battle between Dillon and Sam Hornish Jr. In the end, Dillon would prevail by a narrow margin, and in doing so, earned himself a rather dubious distinction. It was the first time in any of NASCAR's 3 major series where the champion did not win a single race during the entire season. No one knew it at the time, but this event may have played...
I remember it made it into the playoffs, right? I think. Is that what happened? Yeah, it made it into the playoffs, and then it won the last race. Hey, it's on it like a car bonnet, man. It ain't going nowhere. Strapped down. My first time watching it live. It's weird when I kind of questions you got. I know, right? We should do this more. I'm thinking in the future we might do like some watch-alongs. Maybe if I can get myself access to the NASCAR stuff, and maybe on Sundays we might do some watch-alongs of the screen playing the. You know, I'll figure it out maybe.
A hand in opening up Pandora's box, because unbeknownst to everyone else, the sport of NASCAR is about to change in a drastic way.
Oh wait, don't tell me that's somebody else now. Oh, there's too many people. I'm still trying to get my head around it. That was somebody else. Flip. I apologize. I thought it was, yeah, well, is the situation. Daniel Henrik, 22, not Dillon. That's the one. Thank you.
To prevent anything like this from happening again.
There's too many people. I think the problem is there's so many drivers in NASCAR that, and obviously, like you said, in a year, there's 40 drivers or so. And then over the last few years, there's been so many other drivers, and it just gets to be a lot to try to remember these people. But we're gonna get there. I'm getting there slowly but surely.
So, how exactly do you crown a champion in racing? Well, the most intuitive solution seen from F1 to Mario Kart is to award points for each event and tally them up at the end of the season. The driver who scored the most points is your champion. This was pretty much how NASCAR's champions were determined over the first half-century of the sport's existence. The precise method of awarding points would vary from year to year, but the general logic remained the same. Show up to the races, finish well, and you'll find yourself in the championship hunt. It's quite simple, really. There's a reason why every other motorsport in the world works this way. But somewhere down the line, NASCAR decided that the time had come to reinvent the wheel. The system they had just wasn't chaotic enough. The conversation began during the 2003 Cup Series season, which saw 2 drivers dominate the spotlight. The first was Ryan Newman, who collected a season-high 8 victories but seemed to suffer just as many catastrophic results throughout the year.
I was gonna say we've not checked out Ryan Newman yet, But every compilation I did right at the beginning, it was always mentioned in it, and it was always crashing. That's the only thing I know about Ryan Newman, that it crashed a lot. As soon as they start going, like, nope, Ryan Newman is crashed again. So
the second was Matt Kenseth, who won just a single time early on, but ran consistently near the top of the grid all season long. Looking at both of these results in a vacuum, it's hard to say who was the more deserving champion. This question is quite abstract.
Hold on. I could tell you who should have won. Ryan Newman with 8 wins. If they have the same points, yeah, it should be him. The more wins, make him the winner.
And depends on your subjective interpretation of what really matters in racing. But in this case, NASCAR's point system determined Kenseth as the heavy winner, while Newman finished a distant 6th. So, NASCAR's point system favors consistency over winning. Is that really such a big deal? Well, it was a big deal for some people. And by some people, I mean the people in charge of NASCAR. During this time, the sport is riding on an unprecedented wave of popularity. Jeff Gordon is hosting Saturday Night Live, and stock car racing has infiltrated the minds of the masses. But with this success came a new level of paranoia among
Maybe Ryan Newman should have considered being a test driver, so he can keep flipping cars and getting paid for it, you know. Flipped 7 times on the roof. Crazy.
NASCAR's executives, who were now terrified of anything that might scare off the casual viewers, such as a driver running away with the championship using steady, conservative racecraft. And so, starting in 2004, the decision was made to overhaul the tried-and-true format into something more chaotic. Introducing the Chase for the Cup, which took the existing point system and added a reset after the first 2/3 of the schedule. From there, the top 10 or so drivers would compete for the championship over the final 10 races. So no more runaway champions. If you want to prove your...
Would you say this was better than the... what was the other one? The championship? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. The playoff. With the chase, this format of the chase, would you say it was better than the playoff? Because at least it's even... So if they wipe off the points halfway through the season and then they start again, at least it's still consistent a little bit. But the playoff is just like you get in and you could lose a race and that would be the end of it. But this one, at least the points keep going up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like, to me, I would have preferred this nonsense over the playoffs. But I'm sure I know they've gone back to the chase now, but I don't know what the chase is now.
For the best, you now have to defend your title in crunch time. Sounds exciting, right? A closer points battle means more
No, that is hilarious. Oh my god, no, that is funny. That Newman went to become he designed a roll cage. Obviously, he's a professional at crashing. It's only right that they do that. Among the chase is better than the playoffs, but full season points is the best way. Exactly, yes. It's like the chase is the better of the two stupidity that they're doing. So much better. At least you can be consistent still. It's not perfect. So glad. Yeah.
Tenders and more action. So let's take a look at all the exciting new champions that the chase helped create. Guys like Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson.
Yes. So I literally just did a video on Jimmy Johnson maybe 3 videos ago. Oh my god, he was dominating it. He won 7 championships. Woo! Tied at the top. My guy was smashing it.
While trying to stop someone from leading the whole season, NASCAR ended up causing the same guy to win every season. It turns out that when you try to add chaos to a system, order can still emerge in strange and unforeseen ways. In this case, Johnson's race team had deduced that since the final 10 events now mattered so much more than the rest of the season, the optimal strategy was to invest all their resources into those 10 tracks. The team became unbeatable in the chase and ushered in the most dominant dynasty in the history of the sport. It was so dominant that people started tuning out in droves, and NASCAR had entered its first prolonged period of decline. So, lesson learned, right? The chaos experiment had clearly failed, and maybe it's time for the sport to go back to basics. But as was the case with a certain other dilemma from long ago, NASCAR decided to double down. It is from this point that stock car racing as we know it completely exits the realm of normality. If you've been following along so far, it's time to reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. You're about to witness what happens when a motorsport takes the wrong turn.
Oh my gosh. The playoffs.
In 2014, Austin Dillon was introduced to the Cup Series, and the Cup Series was introduced to the NASCAR playoffs.
I still don't understand it completely, guys. I'm not even gonna lie.
Say goodbye.
I was watching the NASCAR, what was the Netflix? Oh, thank you. Whew, scared the hell out of me. I was watching the NASCAR, the speed one on Netflix, and they were talking about I've lost the chain of thought now because I've got pizza next to me at the moment. But yeah, I was watching that and I still don't understand the playoffs. And I know it's like you get qualified for the playoffs, but then somebody at the back is going to qualify, but it doesn't qualify. And then you get to it, to the next 8, to the next 4. And then, but everybody else is still racing and they hate you because you did something to them 6 months ago. And now they're racing for nothing. Even though they were a very good driver, you're racing for nothing. And only 4 people can win the the playoff. And then they take you out. Because of I don't know, it was all mumbo jumbo in my head.
Bye to the boring dynasties and zero-win champions of the past, and say hello to eliminations, multi-round resets, and the winner-take-all finale. A 16-driver clusterfuck so convoluted and contrived that we're still struggling to understand it. What happens from here is going to get very confusing, but luckily for us, we have Austin Dillon to help us navigate this new landscape of chaos. Consider him as your friendly guide who we can use to answer any questions about what the hell is going on in front of you. Over the next 12 seasons, he will be far from the most important character in our story. Sometimes you may forget he's even there at all, but trust me, by the end of this wild ride, he will have played his part in it. Dillon's full-time Cup career began with a bright spot, as he put the 3-car on pole for the Daytona 500. After this, however, he would quickly learn that winning in the Cup Series is exponentially harder than in the lower divisions. In his rookie campaign, he fails to win a race and fails to qualify for the 16-man playoffs. In this new era of racing, winning might as well be everything. Just one victory in any of the first 26 races will automatically qualify you for the playoffs. Furthermore, winning in any of the first 3 rounds will automatically advance you to the next one. We'll dive deeper into the implications of this later, but all you need to know for now is that to win the championship, you're practically required to win races.
And I got another question about this. The races where you have stages, right? I think every race has stages, like 3 or 4 stages, right? So the people that wins the first 2 stages, I know you get some points. Where do that points go? Is that towards your chase points? And then the person that wins the last stage is actual winner, and that's the win that actually counts. The first 2 doesn't. I don't know, man. It confuses the hell out of me, like, with the stages. Oh.
In the very first year of the NASCAR playoffs, a driver with 0 wins nearly wins the championship. Funnily enough, it's Austin Dillon's teammate Ryan Newman who experiences the inverse of his 2003 season. Running off of pure consistency, he makes it to the Final 4 without a single victory. It was entirely possible that the playoffs would immediately crown the exact type of champion it was designed to prevent. Fortunately for NASCAR, Kevin Harvick would edge out Newman at the last moment and spare them the embarrassment. But the fact that this
used to be the first place stage winner would get the playoff points. Kind of like sprint racing in Formula 1. Yeah, okay. They don't. Okay, because they've changed the sprint race in Formula 1 now. I'm looking up, trying to get into the vault in my head. Because back in the days in Formula 1, the sprint race will determine where you start in the actual race. And now they've changed that the points don't even... Well, they get points, but it doesn't determine anything with the actual... Wait, I can't remember. It's anything that is not straightforward just confuses me now. I just can't be bothered with it. Yeah, thank God it's gone now. Let's not worry about it.
Scenario was even a possibility served as a bad omen for the new system. Even more alarming was the way that Newman made it to the finals. In the penultimate race, needing one more position to advance, Newman door-slammed Kyle Larson in the final corner to take the spot by force. The move signaled a shocking breakdown in etiquette. It went far beyond a racing incident and instead came off as cheap and desperate. Few realized at the time that this was only the beginning. The playoffs didn't just change the way that points were calculated, they were altering the fundamental spirit of competition in the sport. It started out small, but soon enough, there'd be no telling the depths drivers were willing to stoop in the name of winning.
I'm afraid if it was that ugly these last couple weeks, it's going to get really ugly next week.
In 2015, Austin Dillon is still searching for his first Cup win. He doesn't get it, and actually finishes worse in the standings than in his rookie campaign. All of this, however, would be overshadowed, because when people think of Austin Dillon in the year 2015, they will be reminded of precisely one moment. There's an old adage among professional drivers that you don't know whether you're cut out for racing until you've had your first bad crash. As it turns out, Dillon's first memorable moment in Cup was an airborne collision at Talladega. For most drivers, this would easily qualify as the most severe accident of their career. But fate had other plans for the 3-car.
Yeah, that's the one. That on the Daytona, no?
In NASCAR, there are bad wrecks. There are scary wrecks. And then there are wrecks where you seriously doubt if the driver will ever step out of the car again. On a suffocating July night at Daytona, the sport would experience one of these rare moments where everyone feared for the worst. This
was the night that NASCAR stood still, wasn't it? A video. Nah, that wreck was absolutely insane. The way it flipped and landed, oh god, round the roof as well. It's surprising how anybody survived that.
Race felt like a fever dream after a rain delay pushed the start time to nearly midnight. As the laps ticked further into the early morning, the drivers' growing fatigue set the stage for a chaotic series of events. In the final run to the finish, the entire field is pushed beyond the edge of control. When you have a blob of 30 or so cars traveling around 200 miles per hour, that's a pretty fragile system. And when fragile systems meet chaos, they tend to break down. In NASCAR, this situation is known as the big one. In a typical season, you can expect to see several of these pileups, which occur most often at Daytona and Talladega, the superspeedways. The reason for this can actually be traced back to a rare instance where NASCAR tried to reduce chaos. The cars are bunched up like...
Oh, really? Oh no, what have I done? Are we still on? I may have pressed the button by accident.
This because they have restrictor plates which prevent anyone from pulling away from the pack. The cars need
They are just ended. Oh, you finished 20th. A squirrel. Wow. Okay, that's cool. He's doing better now.
Restrictor plates because without them, they'd be going too fast. The cars were going too fast because in 1987, one of them lifted off and tore a giant hole in the catch fence. Spectator safety happens to be one area where NASCAR
I actually ended the stream, but then luckily it's still working.
Prefers to play it safe, so they tried to restore order to superspeedway racing. But it turns out that when you try to add order to a system, chaos can still emerge in strange and unforeseen ways. The funny thing about NASCAR is that if you watch long enough, everything always comes full circle.
Checker flag right here, big wreck in your mirror, big wreck in your mirror. Oh my God!
It should be working.
That looks awful.
I'm good. Yeah,
when the big one strikes, you get to witness one of the most expensive physics simulations in the world. Sometimes the randomness of the system will produce an outcome that you never imagined was possible. Austin Dillon's Chevy was bumped at the precise angle to launch him over the top of the pack and into the catch fence. The car went from 190 to a complete stop in about a second. It's moments like this that you really appreciate the courage it takes to be a professional driver, knowing that each and every time you strap into one of these machines, you may never leave.
You may have
what
to
happens
refresh
next,
the stream.
however...
Yeah, you might just need to refresh your stream, guys. It's all good on this side.
...is even more shocking.
What an
what did that mean?
to see
I mean
Austin Dillon walking away
from that we already know about this. We know about this.
Austin Dillon walked away from this almost completely unharmed. The word miracle gets thrown around a lot these days, but this is one of those pieces of footage where you keep watching it and have no other explanation. When you consider the history of the 3-car at Daytona, the whole thing gets all the more eerie. Indeed, the safety innovations that NASCAR adopted following Earnhardt's death must have certainly saved Austin Dillon on this day. From this point on, Driver 3 has been fully intertwined with the whims of fate. He just withstood the ultimate trial of chaos, and in doing so, has earned its blessing. Good time.
That was like, not similar, but obviously it was on the same track where Dale had his accident, right? And it just looks so bad. And the same number 3 car, it just, it's just, oof. If that was me, I would never take that number on. I'd tell people like, nope, can you give me a different number?
Trial of
I don't
chaos,
want number 3.
And in doing so, has earned its blessing. Good timing too, because NASCAR is getting more chaotic with each passing day.
That's a massive drift. That is a massive drift. If you held
So let's check in on the second annual NASCAR playoffs. This season, we got to witness one driver intentionally cause the big one to save himself from elimination, an eliminated driver intentionally demolishing the points leader, and the crowning of a champion who missed a third of the entire schedule.
No way.
For anyone paying attention, the competitive integrity of the sport was starting to disintegrate before our very eyes. But for the sanctioning body, it was more good old-fashioned drama. Despite the looming concerns, the folks in charge decided to double, no triple down on the playoffs. Starting in 2016, NASCAR's 2 remaining series were also forced to adopt the new system, which now pervaded the sport from top to bottom.
Tired of excess sweat? New Clinical Ultra Deodorant by L'Oreal Men Expert for up to 96 hours dry touch.
Hold up a minute, guys.
Hold
up, wait a minute. We gotta get
you're not ready for
EmpLemon some monies. There you go.
2016 marks the 3rd full-time Cup season for Austin Dillon, and the time has come to pick up the pace. He's trying to outrun an accusation that will follow him throughout his career. Kevin Harvick, RCR's previous flagship driver, has become a dominant contender since leaving the team. Dillon, on the other hand, has shown no signs of improvement, leading some to question whether he deserves his seat in the Cup Series. Nepotism is a vice that affects nearly all walks of life, but it can be especially apparent in the world of sports, where the bar for excellence is so very high. Any athlete who gets stuck with the dreaded label of Nepo Baby becomes ripe for ridicule. Pay drivers can be found across all motorsports, where wealth really is a substitute for talent. Running a race team is expensive.
All I'm gonna say is, if you guys don't know about Lance Stroll, he is the prime example of this right now. His dad owns a team, and he just drives, and it's just terrible. He's the most awful driver in the history of driving.
And sometimes you need a delusional rich kid to pick up the slack. In NASCAR, this was the case with the heir to the Zaxby's fortune, John West Townley, who would soon be known by his nickname, John Rex Weekly. However, such clear-cut...
His nickname was what? John Rex Weekly. Oh, that's beautiful.
Who would soon be known by his nickname, John Rex Weekly. However, such clear-cut cases of nepotism in stock car racing usually aren't so easy to spot. The history of NASCAR is full of racing families, from the Pettys to the Earnhardts to the Elliots. After all, this whole sport is one big family business. Austin Dillon was hardly the first NASCAR grandson to inherit the keys to the kingdom. The same could be said about the guy overseeing this whole story. This is Brian France, who happens to be the individual responsible for all these recent changes. Brian's grandfather oversaw the sport's foundation. His father focused on expansion, and Brian's expertise happens to be in acceleration. To what end exactly? It remains to be seen. But the third-generation NASCAR chairman happens to be a big believer in chaos and is prepared to pursue it by any means necessary. Of course, the Brian France era of NASCAR would almost immediately coincide with a precipitous decline in viewership. But who's counting anyway? Most radical new ideas take a while to catch on, so surely the next NASCAR boom is right around the corner.
Yeah.
You see, both Austin Dillon and Brian France may have benefited from an extraordinary level of job security, but the difference between them is that Dillon's performance is directly measurable. His successes and failures are fully transparent to anyone watching. Every time he goes out and competes, he's putting his own legacy at risk. The opportunity may have come easy, but he knows damn well not to squander it. In 2016, Austin Dillon takes a notable step forward, setting career bests in top 10s, top 5s, and average finish. He even qualifies for the 16-man playoffs, finishing the year 14th in the standings. He's getting better, but for many fans, it's not enough. No one really wants to watch the iconic number 3 right around mid-pack. They would much prefer if it was up front competing for the win. For Austin, a victory would carry extra significance. His grandfather, despite a long career, was never able to win at the highest level.
Damn.
The problem is that after 3 seasons in Cup, Dillon has never even sniffed victory lane. In more than 100 starts so far, he's only led around 60 laps, most of which were during pit cycles. In terms of pace, he's still well behind the upper echelon of contenders. This stage of development can be crushing for many NASCAR prospects who just can't break through that glass ceiling.
Alright, I think we gotta check out this video at some point. We gotta check it out.
Luckily, there is a tried and true method for any frustrated Cup driver looking to get their confidence back. They call it bushwhacking, when Cup Series drivers pay a visit to the softer competition of the lower divisions. This is what was happening in the opening sequence of our story, and now it's Austin's turn to continue the cycle. Starting in 2015, he returns to NASCAR's second-tier series on a part-time basis where he reunites with his winning ways.
Okay, there is one thing about this bushwhacking thing that I don't understand. Why is it allowed? That a certified pro at the top of their game can just go back to the lower series and demolish everybody and kill all the opportunities for the younger people. That seems crazy to me. Creed is no longer winless. Oh man, is the guy in the number 2 car in the video that is about? Okay. Oh well, we're still gonna check it out. Maybe if it comes up on the list.
But things take an interesting turn in 2016 where he rediscovers how to win.
47 minutes deep. No, we're actually 29 minutes deep.
In a race at Auto Club, he enters the final lap hopelessly behind the 2 leaders. Yet, shockingly enough, one of them blows a tire and the other runs out of gas, clearing the way for Dillon to steal the victory. Seems like dumb luck, right? Well, not necessarily. In NASCAR, the conventional pathway to victory requires...
Wait, so you're saying because they race in the lower league, the younger people will learn from them? How do they learn from them? Because all they do is get frustrated by the younger drivers and call them stupid for not knowing how to drive. But you're the one that's come from the top, right? Sponsors and TV, big game. Makes sense. That makes sense. Make money. If you say money, I'll be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. You remember all of the races, Jimmy? Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, we want
requires having the fastest car and staying out of trouble. So how do you win without the fastest car? It turns out you have to use chaos to your advantage. Chaotic events like this are rare, but after enough races, they do happen. And they can be the perfect tool for slower drivers to overcome the odds. Don't believe me? Well, a very similar situation would play out in the 2016 Cup Series Championship. In the final laps, it looks like Carl Edwards has a clear path to victory until an unexpected caution bunches the field back up. The two leaders then take each other out, allowing Jimmie Johnson to score his 7th Cup title. Under ordinary circumstances, Johnson would have had no business winning this race or the championship. But this is a different sport now. It's awfully ironic that the very driver the system was designed to thwart ended up being the first one to truly exploit it. In the playoff era, chaos is king. It pays to work with it and not against it. Starting in 2017, Austin Dillon began putting this theory into practice. He gets off to a lackluster start to the season. After the first 11 races, he's sitting a dismal 22nd in points. But all this time, he's been waiting for an opportunity, and he finally gets one in the longest race of the year, the Coke 600. With the laps winding down, Dillon's crew decide to take a gamble, skipping the final pit stop and trying to stretch his fuel to the end. Fuel mileage races aren't too common in NASCAR, but when they do happen, they can flip the field on its head. All of a sudden, drivers who were non-factors all day can find themselves with a real chance to win.
Yeah.
With just 2 laps to go.
It's a big gamble, though. It's a big gamble. I think... well, actually, in Formula 1, you can't refuel anyway, so it's fueled from beginning to the end. And you have to have a certain amount of fuel at the end as well, because they need to test the fuel. So you can never try to run out of fuel, because otherwise you'll be in trouble.
Dillon is running second behind Jimmie Johnson when the 48 car sputters and runs out of gas.
Austin Dillon, the new leader, as Jimmie Johnson is out again.
Hey, they be lying sometimes, you know.
He's got it made. He's down on the bottom, coming around turns 3 and 4.
But he's got to get there. On fumes, Austin Dillon wins at Charlotte for Richard Childress Racing. Wow.
Do you know what else they need to do? Like, sprinkle some water onto the track once in a while, if they want entertainment, you know. That would definitely change things.
And just like that, the famous number 3 is back in victory lane for the first time since Dale Earnhardt in October of 2000. As a bonus, the win automatically advances Dillon to the 2017 playoffs, which he parlays into a career-best 11th place finish in the standings. The result completely overshadows what was otherwise a regression in performance for the 3 team, which only scored 4 top 10 finishes all season. I guess winning really does fix everything. As for the playoffs, 2017 did produce its share of chaotic moments, but ultimately led to the most orderly result in the history of the format. Martin Truex Jr. put up one of the most statistically dominant seasons in recent memory. In fact, it's the only season.
I think there was talks about, some water being poured onto the track a few times. Yeah, there was talks of it.
And that would have won the title across every points format that NASCAR has run throughout its history. 2017 Martin Truex was the most deserving champion that this system could ever produce. But this notion raises a rather disturbing implication. Thus far, NASCAR has been fortunate to avoid any truly catastrophic results that the playoffs are capable of producing.
I don't know, there's something about this guy's face that makes me not even want to trust him. I feel like anything he says is gonna be bullshit, really. Look at all these guys, they're not listening. Only, what's his name is listening, Jeff Gordon. Everybody else is like, maybe.
Avoid any truly catastrophic results that the playoffs are capable of producing. Guys like Johnson, Busch, and Harvick, while not necessarily the best in their respective championship seasons, were at least plausibly in the title hunt. The playoffs seem to work best when the top contenders are evenly matched, but some seasons, one driver is very clearly the class of the field. The design of the playoffs creates a high risk that these dominant seasons are robbed of the championship. What if, hypothetically, in the winner-take-all finale, Truex had cut a tire, or got a pit road penalty, or simply wasn't the fastest car on track? Would this season have been completely wasted? I suppose we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there.
Ooh, we're getting closer. 2018.
The 2018 season begins with a bang.
Contact! Elliott! Slam into the wall!
Are you kidding me?
The Daytona 500, known for its long history of chaos, has devolved into a total wreckfest. In this race, the big one strikes not once, not twice, but 3 times.
If there's a big one 3 times in a race, how many people actually finish the race? Probably like 5 or something, because, geez, each big one takes out like 20 people.
It's one of those scenarios where anyone can win. And on the final lap, the black number 3 emerges from out of the pack.
Oh, into Almirola. Around he goes, and here it comes with the number 3, 20 years ago. 20 years of trying for Earnhardt. Austin Dillon wins the 60th running of the Great American Race.
Yeah, you know.
For one night only, the Intimidator returns to Daytona. Some of the sport's best and brightest have agonized over winning this race.
Am I still correct in thinking that Kyle Busch has never won a Daytona 500? And that's the only one he's still trying to win, right?
Have the opportunity to do so, you'd like better make the most of it.
Years now,
3 years earlier, Austin Dillon was sitting upside down in a pile of sheet metal at this very track. Today, he returns as its conqueror. You can love him or hate him, but if you didn't get a kick out of seeing the 3 car back on top at Daytona, then you might not be human. On another note, by securing the Daytona 500 victory, Austin Dillon has automatically qualified for the 2018 playoffs after just a single race. He can pretty much go on vacation for the next 25.
It's worse than the Dale chase, because Dale won in 20 years and this guy is still chasing it. He's not gonna win with RCR. Oh dear.
Weeks while the rest of the field slugs it out for the remaining spots. As long as he stays above 30th in the standings, he's good to go. You see, the more you learn about the nuances of the playoffs, the less sense it makes. You're telling me that a driver who runs 30th every week gets to compete for a championship just by lucking into a single fluke victory? I swear, the guy who came up with this must have been on drugs.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all day. Imagine running at the back of the pack and then suddenly you're competing for the championship.
On August 5th, 2018, shortly after the Cup Series race in Watkins Glen, New York, Brian France was arrested for driving while intoxicated. In his possession was an illegal supply of oxycodone pills. If you set aside the profound embarrassment of a motorsport CEO blowing a .18 while behind the wheel, all of a sudden, many of NASCAR's more recent decisions are starting to make a lot more sense.
I have to say this though, like seriously, all these rich people, what are they thinking when they keep doing this driving on the influence? Tiger Woods just got arrested for that. Justin Timberlake, same thing. Bruv, you don't need to get your shit together, get a driver. You are rich, man. Just pay somebody to drive you around. You don't need this nonsense.
The full extent of Brian France's drug and alcohol use while running the sport has never been disclosed, and remains the subject of speculation. But in a remarkable turn of events, this fortunate son had actually done enough to lose his spot in the family business. Following the arrest, Brian France was suspended indefinitely from all NASCAR operations.
God damn!
He has never returned.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough.
For as much of a black mark this was on the sport, it provided the sanctioning body with a golden opportunity to hit the reset button, to right the wrongs of the prior administration. But NASCAR's age of chaos has only just begun. In fact, it's about to get a whole lot worse. In the 2018 playoffs, Austin Dillon once again gets eliminated in the first round. He ultimately comes home 13th in the standings. But the real focus of this year's championship fight comes down to the driver who will go on to define the playoff era.
Flat out just drove straight in the corner and wrecked me.
He's just an idiot.
The man
bust his ass.
Everybody wants to fight.
He would probably say, short track race.
And Kenza cleared by Logano. Maybe no. Kenza takes him out. Caution comes out and the crowd roars.
Heading into 2018, Joey Logano was potentially the most robbed driver in recent NASCAR history, putting up championship-level results in 2015 and 2016 only to walk away and...
I've not seen that video yet. What did you call it? Dam of legitimacy. Nope, I've not seen that yet.
Empty-handed. Nobody really cares about this, however, because Joey Logano is simultaneously the most hated driver in recent NASCAR history. Fans do not appreciate his squirrely attitude and reckless driving style. Thus far, his quest for a championship has always ended in reckless driving style.
Right
Thus
here.
far, his...
This picture right here, I think is like the most iconic picture ever. Like, it rammed him straight off the road. He didn't care about the racing. He said, no, today, me and you, we're gonna have it right here. And tomorrow, get a good look at the track. Okay.
His quest for a championship has always ended in failure. But in 2018, Logano turns the tables on the field. Starting at Martinsville, he bulldozes Martin Truex for the win, securing a spot in the finale. In the Final Four, he joins Truex, the defending champion, and the two most dominant drivers of the year, who have combined to win nearly half the races on the schedule. Logano beats them all, and presents NASCAR with a bit of a PR disaster. The playoffs had just awarded an undeserved championship to the most hated driver in the sport. If there was ever a time to scrap the system, this was it. It failed to reward either of the two winningest drivers of the year. It failed to drum up any excitement for the championship. It even failed to tell a good story, because the guy everyone wanted to see crash and burn walked away victorious. The guy who created this whole charade was just kicked out of the sport in disgrace. Now is the moment to pull the plug and end this madness.
Nope, not yet.
In 2019, NASCAR appoints its new CEO, Jim France. Like a monarchy, the reins have been transferred up the family tree to Brian France's uncle, who is more than happy to maintain the status quo. The playoffs aren't going anywhere. Fortunately, the 2019 playoffs are far less egregious, as Kyle Busch captures his second championship after another dominant performance. The relative lack of chaos this season could be explained by the absence of Austin Dillon, who suffers a down year, failing to score even a single top 5. The following year, however, chaos returns to NASCAR in a big way.
What happened?
I just built a budgeting app with Base 44.
Interesting. Can it generate reports?
There's so many
can now.
Is there any love for Joey Logano?
Process invoices. Can it show cost growth
Is
by
there any
category?
love for this man right here?
Can it track spending trends?
Done.
I don't think he has many. Oh, he has a lot of people that fight his corner. 2020.
It may be tempting to ridicule NASCAR for its dysfunction, but this problem is hardly unique to stock car racing. Plenty of other things are prone to occasional bouts of dysfunction, like, say, the entirety of civilization. A 20-car pileup at Talladega may seem amusing, but it's a lot less funny when the very same effect happens to the world economy or the healthcare system. In NASCAR, we call this the big one, but elsewhere, it goes by a different name. In 2007, risk analyst Nassim Nicholas Taleb would label these phenomena as black swan events. The term seeks to explore...
Oh, split. Hey, JT is the only person right now that's loving Joey Logano. Hey, you might get beat up, you know. People might come for you. Surprisingly, I'm a Joey fan. Oh, we got two people. That's more than one. That's cool.
Our relationship with chaos and how it alters the course of human society. The main idea is that cataclysmic events are far more common than we think and can pretty much materialize out of nowhere. Just 1 year after The Black Swan was published, the global economy would experience its worst meltdown in nearly a century. The recession that followed has been credited for much of NASCAR's decline, as it struck at the heart of the sport's predominantly blue-collar audience. About a decade later, NASCAR would face a far more direct threat to its business. When the COVID pandemic broke out in early March, the 2020 season appeared to be doomed. Over the years, the current NASCAR administration has made a lot of incompetent choices, but they would end up navigating this unprecedented situation surprisingly well. For a few months, virtual NASCAR briefly becomes the most popular e-sport in the world, and after a lot of maneuvering behind the scenes, teams were back on track just 60 days after the season was put on pause. In fact, NASCAR was momentarily the only active sporting league that people could watch. Any curious onlookers who stuck around afterwards would witness stock car racing at its most bizarre. Somehow, the full 36-race schedule would be completed on time. It involved empty grandstands, doubleheaders, and midweek racing, a set of scenarios that will likely never happen again. During this time, the sport suffers its worst controversy of the 21st century, triggered by nothing more than a simple misunderstanding. It's a chaotic time in NASCAR, and in the middle of it all, Austin Dillon finds himself with another opportunity. In race number 18 at Texas Motor Speedway, the 3-car spends most of the day running outside the top 10. However, with a handful of laps to go, the team decides to shake up their strategy. By changing only 2 tires on a pit stop, Dillon rockets to the top of the order along with RCR teammate Tyler Reddick. Now, ordinarily, a 2-tire stop is supposed to sacrifice long-term speed for a short-term positional gain. But today, conditions are a bit unusual. In this race, NASCAR is running its dreaded 550 horsepower package, yet another one of Brian France's pet projects designed to add more chaos to the sport. Historically, unrestricted...
It was just there to cause chaos. It didn't really care about the racing. Just bring all the chaos, as many as you can. That's all it did, and got sacked.
NASCAR engines have made between 700 and 900 horsepower. But starting around 2018, NASCAR began experimenting with the idea of lowering horsepower at intermediate tracks. The plan was to replicate what had succeeded at the super speedways by trying to introduce quasi-pack racing to the smaller circuits. The result, however, was some of the most putrid racing that any motorsport fan has ever had the displeasure of watching. Cars were essentially running at full throttle all the way around the track, combined with the effects of dirty air, and it was almost impossible for drivers to overtake each other. Passing ended up being so difficult that tire fall-off was rendered insignificant, which is exactly what Austin Dillon exploited to score his 3rd career win. The Childress cars passed everyone in the pits, and the rest of the field just couldn't get around them. And with that, Dillon has locked in to yet another edition of the playoffs. Good thing too, because he ends up missing a race after getting COVID. Following this setback, however, Dillon would actually turn in the best playoff performance of his career, scoring 2 top 5s in the opening round. He went on to tie his career best points finish of 11th. But through all the chaos of the season, one driver has clearly emerged as the class of the field. In 2020, Kevin Harvick will post an average finish of 7.3 while winning a quarter of the races on the schedule. It is the most championship-worthy season of the playoffs.
Unrestricted, we hit 240 miles an hour, 550 horsepower was a joke. How fast did they go with the 500 actually? Because I don't think it mentioned that at all. On the mid-size tracks, I would guess will they go up like maybe like 170 maybe? I don't know. I'm just chatting rubbish right now.
Era. To top it all off, the championship finale has been moved to Phoenix Raceway, Harvick's best track. Surely, with all this going for him, he must have won the championship, right? Allow me to introduce you to the saddest round in the history of the NASCAR playoffs. This is bearing in mind that in the past year, a playoff driver actually managed to finish dead last in each of the first 3 races. I assure you that what Kevin Harvick is about to experience is far, far worse. With 4 races left in the season, Harvick sits 45 points above the cut line heading into the round of 8. He has this cushion because of the recent addition of playoff points that you can earn throughout the year, designed to offer drivers some modicum of a reward for performing well during the first 26 races. Harvick has dominated the season, so naturally he's earned a lot more than everyone else. In race 33 at Kansas, Harvick looks like he's cruising to yet another win, which would punch his ticket to Phoenix early.
I was thinking that, for one race and one race only, remove the restrictor plate and let's see how fast these cars are gonna go. But put parachutes and airbags in the car so when they crash they don't die. Or something.
However, this is another race with the 550 package. After
Wait, sorry? 180 miles an hour full throttle in the corner, so they don't have to brake the whole time. So they just gas all the way around. Oh, that's not fun, is it?
a late caution, Harvick loses the lead out of the pits and never gets it back. For 42 agonizing laps, he is stuck behind the bumper of Joey Logano, who airblocks his way to the victory. As a result, Logano locks into the final 4 and jumps Harvick, who now sits 41 points above the cut line. The next race is at Texas. Harvick once again finds himself leading, but makes one little mistake.
Oh, brushed the wall and that's it.
With a damaged race car, the best he can muster is a 16th place finish. Despite the setback, he somehow manages to expand his points gap, sitting on a comfortable margin of plus 42 heading into the cutoff race at Martinsville. The following week, however, the car is off the pace. Throughout the day, he loses even more ground on the competition, but still sits in the 4th and final transfer spot. That is until Chase Elliott starts bearing down on the victory. A win for the 9 car would once again jump Harvick in the standings.
I won't be able to copy that to add it to my list, but if you can join my Discord, there's a channel in there where you can recommend videos and I'll be able to watch them.
Leaving him as the first driver out. On the final lap, Harvick needs to gain 1 position to save his season. And with that, the most dominant driver of the year has been reduced to this.
He needs the position.
Oh, Harvick spins the 18.
And Harvick is going to be out of the playoffs.
The NASCAR playoffs are supposed to reward winning. That was the sales pitch. And yet, one of the winningest seasons in recent memory didn't just lose the championship, it didn't even get to compete for the championship.
Oh, man,
possibly the most important part of sports is celebrating excellence. This was the most excellent season of Kevin Harvick's career. It deserved to be remembered. And yet, NASCAR devised a system that made it irrelevant. They took what should have been a historic achievement and turned it into something pathetic. This is the point where the playoffs turn from a failed experiment into something much darker. It wasn't just robbing drivers of titles, it was warping our very understanding of greatness. It was preventing legacies from ever being built. Much of this would be overlooked after Chase Elliott, a fan favorite, walked away with the 2020 championship. It was a feel-good story to end what was a debilitating year for so many people. But it's hard to look back at this now and honestly tell yourself that the right guy won.
Bike sold.
Yeah, that is crazy. This is one thing
it's
I
free
like
and easy to sell on eBay.
You are the best of the best. You have driven your ass off all
L'Oreal
year.
scale raises my ambition.
At L'Oreal, I feel trusted to own my projects.
From e-com to data, my care keeps moving forward.
Somebody that was just consistent and being at the top a few times, then ends up winning the championship. That's just a joke, man. That's a joke.
2021 would produce what remains as the last truly dominant season in the NASCAR Cup Series. Kyle Larson would rack up 10 victories on the year, which thankfully included the final race in Phoenix to collect his first championship. Another orderly result and another season where Austin Dillon is suspiciously absent from the playoffs.
Hey, thanks for the likes,
Funnily
guys,
enough, he actually puts up the best average finish of his career in 2021, but the system really doesn't care about consistency. With each passing year, it's becoming more and more obvious to the drivers that it's win or bust.
If you ain't first, you're last.
There's no such in that second place.
2022 will only add to this philosophy by adding yet another layer of chaos. It's the debut of the 7th gen race car, designed to usher in a new age of parity. I suppose NASCAR got tired of all those 8, 9, and 10 win seasons. Gone are the days of teams engineering unstoppable supercars. The next-gen prototype is essentially a spec car made from single-source parts that cannot be modified, meaning that every team in the Cup Series is now on a level playing field. The results speak.
I know there might be controversy about this, but I do genuinely feel like to solve the driver car debate in Formula 1, at least. I don't know about NASCAR. Because they say, oh, Lewis Hamilton is better than this person, or Max Verstappen is the best driver ever. Put everybody, maybe at least one race in a year, okay? Put them all in the same car so we can actually see who is the best driver. You know what I'm saying? Like, just get them all in the same vehicle and the debate will be over. If you're in first, you are last. It's NASCAR, yeah.
For themselves. 2022 produces 19 unique winners, nearly 60% of the full-time field.
Hey, thanks,
and
JT,
when winning
is
up for grabs, you better believe Austin Dillon is showing up to the party. By the final regular season race, however, 14 of the 16 playoff spots had been locked up, with Dillon still on the outside looking in. Fortunately for him, this race is at Daytona, where, as we've established, pretty much anyone can win. So far, I've talked about it.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about IROC. What's that? It's something I need to look up later. We used to do IROC. That's just IROC. Well, yes, they need to do that in F1. IROC F1 style, or F1 IROC style. Given identical cars. Yes! That will solve all the debates people are complaining about. Like, oh my god, he's only winning because he has the fastest car. You know, I want to see them in equal machines for one race. International race is championship. Is champions. Oh, okay. Of champions. Right.
Variety of ways that a race at Daytona can devolve into chaos. And this one shall be no different. Today's unraveling will come from one of the oldest forms of chaos in all of nature.
God damn it, where have I been? When did that happen?
A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil end up causing showers in Daytona. The weather has always been notoriously difficult to predict. Even with our modern technology, we cannot reliably forecast it more than a few days in advance. This is especially troublesome for NASCAR, which runs all their events outdoors fully exposed to the elements. So what exactly is the problem with stock cars running on a wet surface? Well...
Oh, car's sideways. All the cars are loose down in the corner.
This was the start of the 2001 All-Star race. Just as the green flag flew, rain began to douse the track.
Damn.
Many drivers couldn't make it through a single corner. It was a pretty embarrassing mishap for NASCAR race control, who were supposed to stop the race ahead of time to prevent this exact situation from happening. Needless to say, they certainly learned their lesson, ensuring that a fiasco like this would never happen again. Until 21 years later. This time, the field was entering the corner at full speed. The results went about as well as you'd expect.
Oh, is this the Florida one? Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, guys, there were a lot of drivers saying, hey, it's raining. Why are we racing right now?
Almost the entire pack gets wadded up in the outside wall. Almost the entire pack. Because look who shoots through to the other side.
The three of Austin Dillon squeezes through. He is in front. And look at virtually the only car to clear it.
Austin Dillon is then able to hold.
Sometimes it's good to be at the back of the pack in NASCAR, because when everybody crashes at the front, you're just going to slide through and get to the front.
Hold off the rest of the stragglers and claim his 4th Cup Series victory.
Thank you, Jesus, baby!
Okay, I'll admit it. This has got to be the most undeserving win he's had so far. As if Moses parting the Red Sea wasn't fortunate enough, Austin Dillon only had to get around one guy down the stretch, and he just booted them out of the way, not even attempting a clean pass. By now, the novelty of this whole routine has worn off, and fans are starting to get annoyed by the hijinks. To add to the frustration, the win knocks Martin Truex out of the playoffs. The driver who had scored the 4th most points all season would not get to compete for the championship. Dillon hadn't just swindled a race win, he swindled a playoff spot from a far more deserving contender. To be fair, he would go on to another 11th place points finish, so it's not like he was a waste of space out there. But something felt wrong about one fluke win wiping out a whole season of consistent finishes. I guess modern NASCAR really is a dog-eat-dog world.
The better version of your lips?
Nah, this video is crazy. It's telling the story.
Something got you squeezed, does it?
All the way from
Vinted. You can sell the things that take up
space. All the way from 1948.
All kinds of.
All the way from 1948, and we're still going. We're now in 2022. We only got 4 more years. NASCAR streamed Dillon's on board that 2022 Daytona race, and damn, that was a beautiful thing to watch, though, isn't it?
2022 was also notable for Austin Dillon in another way, because this is the year he gets to star in his very own reality TV show. Despite airing on a major cable network just a few years ago, most of the world seems to have forgotten that this thing ever existed. It is one of the few modern shows I've ever encountered that does not have a Wikipedia page.
No.
Its reviews are abysmal, and the whole thing...
Well, 4.9 is not that bad, actually, compared to some things I've seen where they have like 2%. Even Friday, I think it's less than 4.9. I think it might be around that 3 for Friday of all movies, you know.
Was cancelled after just 10 episodes.
End of the world,
there is a remote possibility that I am the only person who has laid eyes on this programming over a span of years. So, does Austin Dillon's life in the fast lane deserve to be left behind in the past? Well, if you're looking for insight into his NASCAR career, then this isn't for you. It's more of a lifestyle show designed for what I call the bored housewife demographic. The series mostly follows Austin, his best friend, and their 2 wives, with a little bit of racing sprinkled in. In spite of his chaotic reputation on the track, his domestic life is quite uneventful, and I found myself mostly being bored watching it, which is a shame, because I believe there is so much more to Austin Dillon than what the show provides.
They need to have the Drive to Survive producers and the directors in that. They will make it interesting, because they'll make up some fake stories, make it spicy.
I feel like the producers missed what actually makes him interesting.
That's exactly
choosing
what I'm
instead
saying.
to fill the airtime with a bunch of frivolous gimmicks. Like most reality shows, it has to rely on a bunch of manufactured drama, which, funnily enough, makes it just like modern NASCAR. When everyone's super, no one will be. With the combination of the new playoff system and a new car, NASCAR successfully managed to litigate dominance out of the sport. In 2022, no driver would score an average finish better than 12th. Parity had been achieved, but was it something that NASCAR even needed? Pretty much every other sport has their own debate over competitive balance. And while no one wants to feel like their favorite team or player is in a hopeless situation, it's hard to deny that juggernauts make sports compelling. You don't get to tell David's story without Goliath. And oftentimes, dynasties are required to elevate the prestige of what everyone else is fighting for. When each contender is so evenly matched, it makes the champion feel kind of arbitrary. But hey, this new age of parity must surely help elevate new and exciting stars. Yet, despite half the field ending up in victory lane throughout the year, the championship still ended up going to a familiar face.
Hey Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks. Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
Logano is a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion.
Logano's back at it again.
I saved at the pump.
He's back at it again, guys. 2-time world champion.
The 2023 season was more of the same, with no driver really separating themselves from the pack. At least this year produced a unique champion in Ryan Blaney, although his average finish of 14.1 was now the worst of any champion in Cup Series history. 2023 would also be the worst season by far for Austin Dillon. It's just one of those years where absolutely nothing goes right. He finishes with 0 wins and 10 DNFs. To add insult to injury, a 60-point penalty drops him down to 29th in the standings.
Damn.
Maybe this is a sign that Austin's luck has run out. Or in other words, his best years are behind him. He's getting older now, and rumors of retirement begin looming on the horizon. And that brings us to 2024. If you like chaos, then this is the season for you. I describe it as if an entire calendar year of NASCAR was directed by the Joker. There are things that happen in this season that you literally have to see to believe. It's a roller coaster of sensational highs and devastating lows, all leading to something so outrageous that the sport as we knew it would never be the same. But before we get there, somebody should probably wake up Austin Dillon and remind him that the season has started. It looks like the nightmare from last year has only gotten worse. By the middle of July, the 3 team is sitting a disgraceful 32nd in the standings. But in the following race at Richmond, an extraordinary development starts to take shape. For the first time in his entire Cup Series career thus far, Austin Dillon has race-winning speed. As the laps tick down, he slowly but surely works his way up the order. With just 28 to go, he makes the pass for the lead and starts to pull away. This is an unprecedented situation.
What's gonna happen
Austin Dillon is about to win a race straight up, without any gimmicks or shenanigans. It's actually happening. He's in the clear. All he has to do is get to the line before...
Whoa! Caution. And the caution's gonna come out right there with under 2 laps remaining.
Oh my God. You didn't seriously believe it would be that simple, did you? Not with this driver. Not in this sport. You see, in the modern chaos era of NASCAR, most of our frustration has been justifiably directed at the championship format, but something that I think gets severely overlooked is the overtime rule. In almost every other motorsport, if a caution comes out near the end of the race, it's just over. The cars pace to the advertised distance and the race ends. This is how NASCAR used to work in a far more simple and civilized time. It was the rule when Dale Earnhardt won the Daytona 500.
Oh, no.
You know, the most iconic moment in the history of the sport? But as NASCAR fans, we took a look at this and decided that it wasn't chaotic enough.
Yeah, that's
Why should a race have to end under caution?
Formula 1 fans, I'm sorry. 2021 championship. This is how it should have ended. And Lewis Hamilton should have been 8 times world champion. Sorry. I'm going to get back to NASCAR now. But they managed to fuck that up as well.
Why not just rack him back up and keep trying until, by God, we get the green flag finish we deserve? And so, starting in the Brian France era, NASCAR implemented the green-white checker policy, which is now known as overtime. A name that, just like the playoffs, doesn't even make sense in a motorsport. Both of these things are just 2 peas from the same rotten pod, and yet one gets way more backlash than the other. This is why I'm making the argument that if you're disgusted by the NASCAR playoffs, you should also direct part of that scorn towards NASCAR overtime, because they essentially accomplish the same thing, wiping out the lead of a deserving winner and setting up a crapshoot run to the finish. I'll admit that on occasion, this policy has given us some fun moments here and there. But I'll go out on a limb and say that a majority of overtime finishes contribute to a worse outcome than simply ending the race under caution.
Exactly.
If you want an example, look no further than what happened just one race before this current one. The 2024 Brickyard 400 was setting up for a memorable finish, with veteran Brad Keselowski stretching his fuel and holding off 2 hard-charging cars behind him. But with just 6 miles left, there's a crash. So that means that we run past the scheduled distance and restart the race. Brad runs out of fuel, so he's forced to pit, setting up this confusing and unnecessary restart lane controversy. But before we can even address that, the field...
I gotta ask, so why is it that you like the overtime? Is it just because it's more racing and more time to create chaos?
can't even make it through one corner without causing a gigantic crash, a common side effect of the double file restart policy that was also enacted under Brian France. There's so much debris on the track that it takes half an hour to clean up, so long in fact that the race exceeds its televised time slot, and the broadcast has to be booted over to cable, meaning that most viewers at home never even got to see the finish. Oh, and what was the finish, you may ask? Well, Kyle Larson just drove away completely unopposed, and the race ended under caution anyway after another guy wrecked and stalled out on the track. The race ended under caution anyway. You know, the exact scenario that overtime is supposed to prevent in the first place? Now tell me, was all of this seriously a better outcome than if they just let Brad Keselowski coast to the line at the...
I don't feel like it's a problem to win under yellow if you've been racing all day for the last 2-3 hours, and then the last lap something happens. Just finish the race as it is. I don't mind that. I mean, it's more fun to finish on a proper race, but if
scheduled distance, was it really worth it to crash all these cars and waste all this time? Seriously, can someone explain to me what the point of any of this is? And we're just gonna do the same thing the very next week.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
It would have been such a nice story for Dillon to finally earn a victory after a year and a half of struggle. But now, we don't get to see that. It was ruined so we can watch Hamlin or Logano win for the millionth time. So you know what? Fuck him.
There's the contact! He does get to him! The 11 on the inside! He gets into the wall!
I see what's happened. He's been winning clean. Didn't touch a single person. He made it to the front. Now they throw a yellow flag. And he ends up in second place or third place even. And he said, oh hell no. I worked too hard to be in this position. So screw everyone. I'm taking you all out. And wiped everybody out. Beautiful. I don't blame him.
Fuck him.
There's the contact! He does get to him!
My
the
man.
11 on the inside!
And you're gonna have that as well.
Into the wall. Dillon winning at the
He's on to Oprah.
Keep coming down. Run him down! Wreck him! Come on!
Wreck him, you know? Wreck him as well.
And he just pulls a chicken shit move. He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
Pop, bud.
This just might be the dumbest thing that's ever happened on a NASCAR track. When people imagine a bunch of dumb rednecks driving in circles, this is probably what they picture in their heads. Fans were understandably pissed. They called Austin Dillon gutless. They said he embarrassed the whole sport. But guess what? When you design a championship system that actively invites stupidity, don't be surprised when it actually shows up. What Austin Dillon did at the end of this race wasn't just awesome. I'd argue it was completely justifiable. Often lost in the spectacle of racing is that each of these cars is not a one-man show. There are dozens of people below the line that make it all possible. Winning and making the playoffs isn't just some vanity project for the driver. It unlocks millions of dollars in prize money that helps pay for all these hard workers. For the past 18 months, the 3 team has been enduring miserable results despite their best efforts. Austin Dillon sees these people depending on him every day, and on top of that, he's not getting any younger himself. For all he knows, this may be the last shot at glory he's ever gonna get. But come on now, does all of this really make it justifiable to intentionally crash 2 opponents for the win? Everyone wants to win, obviously, but you have to at least do so under a basic system of etiquette. And my response to that is, why should he? Because if we're being honest with ourselves, NASCAR's age of etiquette went away a long time ago. The modern sanctioning body has pretty much always maintained a hands-off approach when policing intentional contact. It's a well-known fact at this point that you can purposely wreck someone for the win and not be punished for it. The 2 victims of tonight have been guilty of this. Dillon himself has been guilty of this, so why not push things even further? The best case scenario is that they just let it slide like everything else. But, unfortunately, Austin Dillon had crossed an invisible line in the sand.
No, don't tell me
a few days later, NASCAR announces that the 3-team will not be granted a playoff berth from this stunt. It goes down in the record books as an encumbered victory, which is usually reserved for cars that get caught breaking the rules or failing post-race inspection. But the hilarious thing about all of this is that I don't believe Austin Dillon actually broke any rules here. I think what he did was so outlandish that no one thought to make a rule for it, and that NASCAR simply invented one after the fact specifically to punish him. Of course, the sanctioning body keeps their rule book a secret, so we'll never know if this was the case. But with the ruling, Austin Dillon was condemned to maintain a 32nd place points finish. So, does that mean that this grand gesture was all for nothing? Well, in an odd way, I think that when you look at the bigger picture.
So who got the win instead then? Definitely not number 11 or number 22. It'd have to be, what's this guy, number 45?
This whole affair was a win for the sport, for a reason that was actually hiding in plain sight. Because, for the first time in God knows how long, NASCAR's leadership were forced to backtrack. Dillon's antics had essentially caused them to expose their own hypocrisy. Welcome to the playoffs, where anyone has a chance because it's win and you're in. But not like that. All of a sudden, there was a moment that was too chaotic for the sport that loves chaos in the midst of their most chaotic season in history. It sounds like such a small thing, but this incident planted a seed in the minds of both the fans and the...
So it keeps the win, but it had a tinted title next to it. It's like a car that crashed with a bad registration on it still. It just didn't count as a playoff. Yes,
in charge. At a moment when it feels like change is impossible, you'd be surprised how quickly it can all unravel.
You, just you, building your app on base 44.
For 10 years now, the playoffs have been sabotaging drivers. The time has finally come to sabotage the playoffs.
Yes.
To make this happen, we're going to need someone to pull off the greatest troll job in NASCAR history. Someone who's not afraid of being hated. Someone who has plenty of experience with pissing off the fan base. We need an anti-hero.
And then you go up there and thank God and praise everything with his baby. It's a bunch of BS. It's not even freaking close.
Did I ever tell you about the legend of even year Logano? If you've been paying close attention, you may have noticed that since the very beginning of the playoffs, Joey Logano has made it to the finals every year that ends in an even number. During this streak, when he's not taking the title for himself, he often plays a major part in deciding the winner. You may also notice that 2024 is another even-numbered year. But halfway through the season, it looks like the streak is in jeopardy, because Logano has been running way off the pace. Don't worry though, because this is all according to plan. Think about it this way. If you could invent a scenario that would most totally destroy the credibility of these NASCAR playoffs, how would you do it? Well, we've already seen what it's like when the system robs an elite driver of a deserved championship. This is pretty bad, but it's still not the worst case scenario. No, that would be if the system rewards a mediocre driver with an undeserved championship.
Wait a minute.
For instance, did you know that in the NASCAR playoffs, it's possible to win the title even after finishing dead last in 31 of the 36 events? This hypothetical was only made possible in the last few years after they removed the 30th place minimum entry requirement, and it's simply astounding. Let's say for the first 25 races of the year, you show up each week and park your car after just one lap, scoring 25 last place finishes. In race 26, you win, locking yourself into the playoffs despite sitting dead last in the standings. Now, just repeat these same steps in each of the 3.
But the problem is, you can't guarantee yourself a win, though. You know, it's not, you can't just manufacture a win out of nowhere, because there's so many factors that will make you not win. All the crashes, all the madness. You've done Group B rally.
Rounds of the playoffs, finishing dead last twice and winning once. And congratulations, you have now advanced to the Final Four. And for the cherry on top, in the championship race, All you have to do is finish ahead of the other 3 contenders. And the sport of NASCAR, under this current rule set, would be forced to recognize you as the champion. In 2024, Joey Logano is about to do the closest thing possible to this.
To happen.
In what was otherwise a middling regular season, he wins precisely once. He does this in the dumbest way possible. After an unprecedented 5 overtime clown show sends the race so far past its scheduled distance that the leaders start running out of fuel. This allows Logano to swoop in and steal the victory after being out of contention all day. Step 1 complete. Now it's on to round 1 of the playoffs. Here, he wastes no time and edges out another victory at Atlanta, which has recently been reconfigured into NASCAR's 3rd superspeedway, to add more chaos, of course. On to round 2, where Logano appears to hit a bit of a snag. He's banking on winning at Talladega, which he gets close to doing before getting taken out by the big one. He finishes way back in 33rd, falling so far in the standings that the next week, he gets eliminated from the playoffs.
I'm trying to get into watching NASCAR, but the delays so far, it might put me off. Because what do you mean you're delaying the race by 2 hours, 3 hours before you? No, I don't know about that. But we're gonna see. We might do some watch-alongs, guys.
Unfortunately, the 2-time series champion does not have an opportunity to be a 3-time champ. Their playoffs run ends right now.
This, of course, is all according to plan, because a few hours later, Alex Bowman, the face of disappointment, gets disqualified in post-race inspection. The ruling drops him out of the next round and puts Logano back in.
Goddamn.
The very next week, he stretches his fuel to barely squeak out a victory at Las Vegas, moving him all the way up to the championship race. Now, this is the part of the mission where it's imperative that our secret agent is a hated driver. Because despite the sheer amount of stupidity it's taken to get to this step, there is still a risk of fans starting to rally around the situation as some kind of Cinderella run. Fortunately, Logano is not some plucky underdog from the back of the pack. He spent plenty of time hogging the spotlight and is someone the fans will surely be disgusted to see win. In fact, the very idea of this seems to whip the rest of the sport into a frenzy. With only 3 spots in the championship remaining, the rest of the field enters Deck, who just a week before was sent tumbling upside down, clinches the next spot with a win at Homestead. The following week, Ryan Blaney secures the 3rd spot at Martinsville, but behind him, the chase for the championship turns ugly. This game of musical chairs has left only 1 spot up for grabs, and the teams who end up fighting for it happen to be the 2 most powerful organizations in NASCAR. The loser will be left out of the championship entirely. Because of this, the race devolves into a truly dark moment for the sport. It features obvious signs of collusion and team orders at a manufacturer level. There is enough evidence to disqualify both drivers involved in the dispute.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a Kansas one tomorrow. Yeah, I need to find a way to watch it though. I don't know how. I need to find the right provider that shows it or something, so I can start watching them.
But NASCAR ultimately disregards the whole situation, choosing instead to move Christopher Bell out on a technicality. The very legitimacy of the sport was melting down right in front of us, but at the end of the day, all the mayhem, manipulation, and bad blood didn't end up mattering. While everyone else was at each other's throats, the yellow 22 car simply drove off into the sunset.
Joey Logano steps into history! He's a 3-time Cup Series champion!
This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time!
Is it okay that I feel like I don't want to live anymore?
Yes, Bobby, that's normal.
This shit.
And you promise FBI will not come and knock on my door? They might fly all the way to the UK and smash my door in.
Chicanery? Are you telling me that a man just happens to fall like that? No, he orchestrated it.
Okay, sorry, I need to actually read what he's saying on the...
You're telling me that a man just happens to fall like that? No!
There we go. Suck early, abuse the system, bypass most races, offer hope, take it away, advance to the finals, grab the trophy.
He orchestrated it. What a sick joke.
Alan, we are so fucked.
Well, in the words of Yogi Berra, it's deja vu all over again. Joey Logano wins the 2024 championship.
Never watch Nascar again until they carried up the playoffs. No way. Only we Europeans can watch NASCAR. Oh, wow.
With an average finish of 17th. Over all 36 races, 11 other drivers scored more points than him. In fact, the 3 drivers who scored the most points all season didn't even get to compete for the championship. And that's not all. By winning the title 2 of the last 3 years, Joey Logano has put together the makings of a playoffs dynasty. After all this time spent trying to inject more chaos into the sport, order still found a way to emerge on the other side. How did they do it? The same way Jimmy Johnson did it all those years ago. When you crown a champion at the same track every year, all you have to do is invest your resources in that one track. Logano and Penske Motorsports figured out that if you're the fastest at Phoenix, you're pretty much guaranteed a championship as long as you make it there, which, with a little bit of luck, isn't that hard to do. The playoffs had been solved, which meant that they were now broken beyond repair.
But how do you practice on the track though, to become the best driver on the track? Really my best line. Got ruined watching that race. Oh no. I'm so sorry that happened to you, bro.
No one knew what this meant for the future of the sport, but if one thing's for sure, this is the moment that Joey Logano became Heisenberg.
Oh, Breaking Bad. Let's go.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
Didn't know you could blow up a car by shorting the battery like that. That's okay.
All the way back in the 2016 finale, when Carl Edwards' dreams of a championship evaporated after it looked like victory was assured, he stepped out of his car, left the track, and never raced again. The chaos had simply become too much for him. For years, I never understood how a driver in their prime could walk away from all that fame and fortune. But now, I get it. Because in the 2024 season, the chaos became too much for me. And I'm someone who happens to like chaos. It makes for a good story. But this season of NASCAR racing really made me question whether I still should.
This guy's driving backwards.
In fact, I started wondering how any human being is supposed to feel about chaos. Conventional wisdom seems to offer us mixed messages. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's evil. The Dungeons & Dragons alignment chart places chaos on its own axis entirely. Plenty of religious texts consider disorder to be an enemy of mankind, while others believe that it's an essential part of life itself. In modern fiction, chaos is typically associated with villains, but it may also be a heroic attribute if law and order become too oppressive. When we examine our own lives, chaos is usually bad news for organized societies, often leading to the collapse of the stock market and, in extreme cases, the population. But even with that in mind, there is something undeniably tempting about spontaneous events.
Well, what are you waiting for?
I don't know. Something amazing, I guess.
Perhaps we can learn to appreciate them, because there may come a day when chaos becomes a thing of the past. One of the leading theories in thermodynamics spells out the eventual heat death of the universe, where all matter and energy will break down into an endless soup of nothingness.
Hold on. Why
In this final state of maximum entropy, chaos as we know it would cease to exist. The universe would remain at rest, unchanging, for eternity. This is all to suggest that chaos may ultimately become the most destructive force we know.
We've gone very dark suddenly. Like, where's the happiness? Bruv is going all the way deep into the soul of darkness. Ooh, I need that energy back.
It can even destroy itself.
Oh, there's the energy. It's an ad. '25 last year, let's go.
Midway through the 2025 season, NASCAR announced that the playoff format had reached its merciful end. After 12 years of chaos and 12 years of frustration, the sport is finally embracing order once again. The new system will scrap the winner-take-all finale and place more emphasis on consistent finishes. Due to contractual obligations, the changes were set to go into effect starting in the 2026 season. This meant that 2025 was now the last hurrah for NASCAR's Age of Insanity. Hopefully that means that the worst is behind us. All that was left to do is run out the clock and pray that nothing else stupid happens. So you know what? To commemorate the end of an era, let's take a break.
But surely, sorry, something's stuck in my throat now. Surely you should appreciate Logano for breaking down the playoff. Like, he's ruined it for everybody to the point where they've brought back the actual chase that you guys wanted, right? So we should appreciate him winning this championship. Even though you might not like him, but because he's won, they've changed everything.
From all the existential dread and have some fun.
This is fun. We're having fun.
Did you know that Austin Dillon has a brother?
Nope.
Despite following in Austin's footsteps, Ty Dillon could never really step out of his older brother's shadow. He won less, finished worse, and struggled to accomplish much of anything. After 7 seasons in Cup, he could only muster up a handful of top 10s, spending most of his career as a journeyman for backmarker teams. In 2024, he was demoted to the Truck Series and couldn't even put up good results there.
Yeah.
But just when it looked like he was on his way out of the sport, opportunity came calling. A Cup seat had opened up for the 2025 season, giving Ty one more chance to compete at the highest level. Of course, he immediately went...
It's not the hero that you wanted, but it's the hero that you got, man. What happens happened.
back to being an afterthought.
Oh, but the hero you needed.
The beginning of NASCAR's inaugural in-season tournament. I know, it sounds like yet another insipid gimmick, but with no real championship implications, it really is just a fun sideshow to keep fans entertained during the dog days of summer. Anyway, the tournament bracket features 32 drivers, and Ty Dillon just barely makes the cut as the 32nd seed. In the first round, he gets matched up against the points leader Denny Hamlin. Clearly, he has no shot of beating him, right? Well, not so fast. The first round takes place at Atlanta, which you'll recall is now a superspeedway, which tend to trigger the big one, which ends up happening and collecting Denny Hamlin. Ty, on the other hand, scores his lone top 10 of the season and advances to the second round. The following week, his opponent once again gets caught up in an early pileup, allowing Ty to cruise to the quarterfinals. The week after that, he just barely edges out his next opponent to reach the Final Four. The week after that, the same exact thing happens, and all of a sudden, the lowest ranked driver in the entire tournament has advanced to the finals. He comes so close to winning the whole thing too, only needing to finish above 21st, but at the end of the road, the glass slipper finally broke for Ty Dillon. Coincidentally, the winner happens to be another racing grandson named Ty, leaving our hero to wonder what could have been. He didn't get a fairy tale ending, but for a brief window of time, Ty Dillon was the talk of the NASCAR world, seizing every opportunity in a way that only a Childress could. I tried to tell you that chaos runs in this family. Speaking of which, how did the other Dillon brother perform in 2025? Well, after moving past the whole collusion deal from last season, Austin Dillon pretty much went back to business as usual. Just a few weeks until the playoffs, he's found himself right at home, sitting 28th in the standings. That's when he pays another visit to Richmond Raceway, a year removed from the one that sort of got away. By now, Austin Dillon has won races in just about every unexpected way imaginable. It's gotten to the point where the most surprising thing he could do is score a good old-fashioned, straightforward, ordinary victory. And by now, you've probably figured out that Austin Dillon is full of surprises.
That is not normal.
Last year,
why
it was
would he race like that?
Right here, where there was contact with Joey Logano, contact with Denny Hamlin. There's no contact this year. It's all Austin Dillon.
Sideways
He's
the
going
line.
to the playoffs.
Let's go, baby! Who is your daddy? Let's
go!
Who's your daddy? Not you,
It wouldn't be the
Sorry.
swan song of the playoffs without Austin Dillon randomly locking up a spot with a win that no one on earth could have predicted. And this time, he gets to keep it. So now, all that's left to do is run through the playoffs one last time. Maybe after all the turmoil this format has caused, it can at least bow out of the sport gracefully. And well, let's just say that everyone was reminded of why they were glad to see it go.
New Derma Control Shower Gel from L'Oreal Men Expert with 2% salicylic acid to help visibly reduce blemishes.
This game.
What game is this?
You're not ready for it.
Eve. That's alright.
Championship weekend of 2025 would prove to be
Dillon
the most tumultuous in NASCAR history. The absurdity of these playoffs would fully metastasize in all three series across 3 days of pure psychosis. Thus far, I've neglected to mention how the playoffs have warped NASCAR's lower divisions. We've missed out on such gems as a Truck Series driver becoming champion with 0 wins, and an Xfinity Series driver becoming champion after winning for the very first time. But rest assured, both of these series have saved the best for last. So let's start with the Truck Series. Corey Heim has just put up the most dominant season in its 30-year history. He enters the finale having won 11 of the 24 races.
Damn.
He has led more than 40% of the laps on the entire schedule. His 3 opponents in the final 4 have combined for 1 victory between them.
God damn.
This is the NASCAR equivalent of a hydrogen bomb versus 3 coughing babies. Under any reasonable format, Heim would have locked up the championship weeks ago. But as we know, the NASCAR playoffs may put his entire season in jeopardy. So everyone is left to hold their breath and pray that the guy we all know deserves the championship actually gets to win it.
Yeah.
He comes so close to getting screwed over by late race shenanigans, but after making a 7-wide pass on the final restart, Corey Heim got to walk away with the championship that he already earned long ago.
Hallelujah. I feel so much relief
The
for
following
him winning
night, Connor Zilisch wasn't so lucky. He entered the Xfinity Series finale with 10 victories, more than double any other driver in the field. At one point during the season, he put together a stretch of 18 consecutive top 5 finishes. He has accomplished all of this before his 20th birthday. Zilisch may very well be the most talented NASCAR prospect we have ever seen, but the playoffs do not care about who you are and what you've done.
Wait, I remember him. Is the one that was it the one that jumped out of the his foot got caught in the net after it won and it dropped on the floor and smashed his hand, broke his shoulder, I think it did. What terrible celebration.
With just 25 laps to go, he falls out of the lead and never gets it back.
He
loses the championship to the Richard Childress racing car of Jesse Love, who only won a single other race all season.
Oh, that's painful. Oh no, that's so painful.
Crew chief for this car is Danny Stockman, who 12 years earlier was atop the pit box for Austin Dillon's 0-win championship in this same series. After the defeat, Connor Zilisch stepped out of his car, sat down, and sobbed. Every sport is always looking to create new stars. Zilisch deserved to be celebrated as one of NASCAR's brightest, and the playoffs just snuffed him out. By Sunday's Cup Series finale, everyone is just ready to move on. Forget all the exhausting arguments about fairness and legitimacy. All we want out of the playoffs at this point is a feel-good moment. Can they at least deliver us that much? This season in Cup, there's no dominant title favorite, but in this race, there is a sentimental favorite. Denny Hamlin is NASCAR's most decorated driver who has never won the championship. His father has fallen terminally ill and will not live to see him try again next.
From watching that Netflix series, he didn't win, did it? Because they had a thing where was it his dad? They have a box that it needs to break that was given to him by Michael Jordan. That if they win, then they can smoke that cigar. Oh, I might be wrong about this person, but I think that's who, and he didn't get to win. Yeah, either.
The race that follows is plagued by chaos. The tire compound is too soft, causing numerous blowouts throughout the day. No one is safe, not even the championship contenders. But through all of this, Hamlin stays the course. He dominates the race, leading 208 of the 319 laps. With 4 laps to go, he is riding off into the sunset. The wheel for Denny Hamlin is still and perfect.
And
then,
cheering for him.
Oh boy, William Byron has a tire issue and the caution is out.
The bloody caution, mate. It's the bloody caution. He's arrogant. Goddamn.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
While sitting in the cockpit after watching it all go to shit, the 44-year-old Hamlin simply gazed forward with tears in his eyes. It doesn't matter how old you are, the feeling never gets any less painful.
He just wants to win one championship. Just let him win one championship, you know? Goddamn playoffs.
Do you ever wonder if back in 2006, Brian France watched the end of the movie Cars while possibly drunk or high, and decided to make that the official championship format of the biggest motorsport in America? Because I really have no other explanation for why anyone thought this was a good idea. How could we not see any of this coming? In a sport where this is possible, we're gonna decide our champions within one single race? What were we thinking? How could any of us be this stupid? The NASCAR playoffs have left behind a legacy of fire and fury, not unlike what General Sherman left behind after his march to the sea. 8 out of 12 times it failed to reward the driver who scored the most points. 9 out of 12 times it failed to reward the driver who won the most races. 10 out of 12 times it failed to reward the driver with the best average finish.
Wow.
If we weren't crowning champions based on any of these metrics, then what exactly have we been doing this whole time? NASCAR just spent more than a decade rigging the sport so that the best driver usually wasn't the champion. This is not just dysfunction, it's malpractice. And now I come to find out that this mental sickness is somehow infesting other motorsports. Why? So we can keep manufacturing more of these bogus Game 7 moments? For my entire life, I've never understood this misguided obsession with making auto racing more like other sports. When I first started watching NASCAR at the age of 8, I didn't choose to become a fan because it reminded me of football or baseball or basketball. I watched NASCAR because it was unique. There was nothing else like it. The book of Genesis describes the origin of mankind's descent into chaos when Adam and Eve picked the forbidden apple and were expelled from the Garden of Eden.
Eve's fault.
They already had everything they needed, but they still wanted more. They wanted to be something else.
No. Eve wanted to be something else, and Adam could not say no because he was a simp. That's what happened.
NASCAR is located squarely in the middle of the Bible Belt. You'd think that they, of all people, would have heeded the warning. But no, they still made the mistake of picking the apple.
They make money somehow.
The format is one thing, right? But playoffs, I think we're not going to go away from playoffs.
The folks in charge then spent the next decade figuring out why anything resembling playoffs doesn't belong in motorsports. You didn't need to waste 12 years to understand this. All you had to do was look at the word itself to know that it doesn't fit.
You could have even called it race off, not playoffs.
This January, NASCAR announced the new championship format, which looks to be a rehash of the chase for the Cup. For many fans, it wasn't enough. The excessive chaos of the past decade has contributed to a groundswell of support for the traditional order of the original full-season points format. In terms of returning to order, the new system is at least a step in the right direction. But even now, after everything that's happened, NASCAR's executives have expressed a hesitancy to abandon chaos. They are still terrified of allowing the sport.
I know, I'm feeling the same way. And I've not watched NASCAR that much. I feel like they'll probably end up going back to the original way. If we're going backwards the way they went forwards, it automatically will end up back at the points scoring.
To be judged on its own merits.
The traditional way of doing points would be tough to do in this era.
Why?
Because we are looking towards a younger group of people. Somebody's winning the point series by 487 points. Like, I mean, that ain't exciting to the young guy. So we got to make it exciting. And our attention spans, my social media guy says, remember, Chris, 30 seconds long, not.
if you reduce the amount of points they're winning, like do it Formula 1 style, only the top 10 wins get a point. So by the end of it, you're not going to run away with 500 points.
4 hours, 30 seconds. Yes, sir.
I mean, hell, at this point, why not just put Subway Surfers or Family Guy clips on the broadcast if we're so concerned about chasing fickle engagement? I happen to know for a fact that you don't need a bunch of vapid gimmicks to make people care about this sport. I know this because I've single-handedly made millions of people tune in to stories about NASCAR, many of whom had never seen a single race before. And for as tempting as it may be to personally take credit for this, I'll confess that I am simply the messenger, relaying to the rest of the world what was already set in stone.
Ooh, they should put the last one on the road course. Oh gosh. I hate hearing him talk.
Long ago. There is no magic spell I'm putting on people to force them to care. This sport, for all of its problems, really is that interesting. When you take it seriously, the grit, drama, and intensity are unmatched by anything else. For too long, the people running the show have lost sight of this, and now a new generation of...
They keep saying things like, oh, people don't have the attention span or whatever, da, 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 da. That's a lie. People that are genuinely interested in something would watch it. Forget the little kids that want to go on TikTok for 5 seconds. They let them do their TikTok subway surfing, and we're gonna watch the real stuff. You know, they say that about Formula 1 as well, like, oh, it's 2 hours is too long. They need to reduce it to, or do some things in between or some bullshit. Like, no, get the heck out of here, man.
Americans are discovering their love of racing through another sport. Formula 1 is now routinely beating NASCAR in the young demographics that our league is so desperate to impress. They didn't achieve this by stuffing their series full of contrived theatrics. They made larger-than-life stars by simply letting the best drivers go out and dominate. Most seasons end in blowouts. Most races end in blowouts. But for some reason, short attention spans no longer seem to apply.
Nope.
People tune in. This past season saw one of the greatest championship battles in history. They didn't need point resets or multiple rounds or eliminations. It was just good old-fashioned racing. The solution is clear, and sooner or later, NASCAR may be forced to change their ways.
You think it's gonna happen?
I remember 20 of us drivers went about, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, and sat with NASCAR and said, these are the things that we think will help make the sport better. And a person in NASCAR that I won't name sat there and looked me square in the eye and said that everything that we were talking about and what I was saying was 180 degrees backwards. And that's kind of when I was like, we're in bad shape. We're in trouble.
Way back in the summer of 1969, a rift formed between NASCAR and its race teams that was never really mended. More than half a century later, these tensions finally reached a boiling point. In 2024, team owners Bob Jenkins, Denny Hamlin, and some guy named Michael Jordan filed an antitrust lawsuit against the sanctioning body.
What?
The subsequent trial, which took place in December 2025, made Jim France and his lackeys look completely inept. As the case against NASCAR mounted higher and higher, their positions soon became untenable, and they caved. Denny Hamlin, who just 1 month earlier was humiliated by the playoff format, ended up getting the last laugh. NASCAR was forced to settle with the teams, giving them pretty much everything they wanted. For the first time ever, there was a crack in the armor of the France family dictatorship.
Wow.
In the fallout of the lawsuit, the relationship between the sanctioning body and the teams has been strained to its absolute limit. The trial process ended up leaking private messages from NASCAR's top executives that shocked and appalled the rest of the sport. The most troubling comment came from Commissioner Steve.
He needs to be taken out back and flogged. Is a stupid redneck who owes his entire fortune to NASCAR. Oh
Phelps,
my
who
God.
called Richard Childress a stupid redneck that owed his entire fortune to what NASCAR provided him. Not long after the trial, Phelps was forced to resign. This whole ordeal burnt a lot of bridges along the way. But perhaps out of the ashes, a new NASCAR can emerge. One where the folks in charge are more accountable to the teams and the fans.
2026, we are at the end, guys.
What a day in Daytona.
one of the greatest athletes of all time, gets to come to Victory Lane and hoist one of the greatest trophies of all time.
I don't know what the future holds for stock car racing. I can't say whether people will like.
By the way, that finish at the Daytona 500 was, oh my gosh, it was absolutely incredible. My man sent it all the way from the back to, not all the way from the back, but you know what I'm saying, he sent it to win that. And everybody was crashing behind him. He just made sure he was looking forward. He wasn't caring about what's happening in his mirrors. It was absolutely beautiful. You saw this one yesterday. Hell yeah.
The new format or how much longer the Frances are going to be running the show. I am confident, however, that throughout all of this, Austin Dillon has probably been smiling, unbothered and unafraid. He'll most likely race for a few more seasons and then eventually take over the family business, which in recent years could use a bit of a tune-up. And who knows, maybe the Childress racing lineage will continue one day. But for now, Austin Dillon remains as a polarizing figure,
the most
loved by
chaotic driver
some and ridiculed by others. The debate rages on over whether he truly earned the spot he was given. The way I see it, if he walks away from the sport today, he would do so with 6 Cup Series victories to his name. That puts him well within the 100 best drivers to ever suit up at NASCAR's highest level. Did he match the legacy of the Intimidator? Obviously not, but he managed to carry on the number 3 in his own unique way. Like it or not, it's hard to imagine this crazy modern era of NASCAR without Austin Dillon stealing a win when you least expect it. Maybe it's finally time to give him the respect he...
Me watching them do that jump right there actually hurts me, because I know if I ever do that, I'm not getting up again.
Stealing a win when you least expect it. Maybe it's finally time to give him the respect he deserves. After all, I believe that he has an awful lot to teach us.
Wow. 1 hour and a half.
The wind that extinguishes a candle's flame can also fuel a blazing inferno. Several years after predicting the worst financial crisis of our lifetimes, Nassim Taleb would publish Anti-Fragile, a revolutionary new theory about things that get stronger with chaos. This mysterious property can apply to just about everything, from the most complex systems to the simplest life forms. It can even apply to race car drivers. Life as we know it is getting more chaotic. With each passing day, it's becoming harder and harder to predict the future. Modern institutions believe that they can dodge chaotic events. They spend billions on fancy models which attempt to foresee the unforeseeable. But in an age of disorder, all this prognosticating is ultimately futile. No one knows what surprises are waiting for us down the road, just like how no one knows if it's gonna rain during the next race at Daytona. Chaos can only ruin people who are foolish enough to believe it won't affect them.
Embrace the chaos when it happens.
To survive chaos, you must learn to expect it. You don't have to predict it. You don't even have to fully understand it. You just need to acknowledge it as an inevitability. Only then will it start working in your favor. So the next time the world around you begins slipping into pandemonium, it would be wise to follow the black swan.
Okay, wow. Guys, that was the NASCAR's most chaotic driver, and that was an absolutely crazy video. I enjoyed all of that. Oh my god, an hour and a half, and we've been here for 2 hours 10 minutes. Nah, thank you guys for watching this one with me, man, and telling me when I'm chatting rubbish. I appreciate every single one of you for all the corrections and everything, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, now that was a great video, and also thank you for the likes. I think we got 29 likes on the video. Appreciate it. You guys are amazing. I just thought we'd do this for fun. You know, I have some time today, and I thought, why not? Let's react together. It was beautiful. Austin Dillon is currently 27th in the points right now, but if he wins the race, it no longer has the playoffs to save him. Oh no. Glad you enjoyed it. No, thank you for recommending it, guys. I don't think I could have watched it alone by myself in this room. I appreciate you guys joining me and doing that. I'm gonna watch Early Productions' new video. Bye 31 likes. Thank you guys. Don't forget to smash that like button so that people can watch this later on. We're gonna keep this video in the VOD. Super fun stream, longer videos. Should be fun to watch together. Yeah, I thought so. That might be a thing that we do now. You know, bring the long video formats and do a live stream so that we can enjoy it together and we can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed it. And also, definitely being corrected as I'm doing. It's like responding to the comments, but doing it live. You know, I'm being corrected as I'm doing it. So, yeah, that's brilliant. I love it. Thank you very much, guys. All right, I've held you hostage for long enough, guys. It's been 2 hours and a bit. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy that video, my friend. I'm gonna go eat my pizza that is cold now. So yeah, join the Discord fun stream. Hey, thank you. I did see you posted a message, a link in the Discord. Appreciate that, guys. Don't forget you can hit the Discord and join me, and we can party together once in a while. And yeah, look forward to us doing a watch along soon, hopefully. All right, take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Peace. Join as well. Oh yeah, I got one. It's in the description. Go join up, guys. See ya laters. Oh, Lordy.